So hi, I'm here at STK with Katie, who's the EMEA marketing manager for STK.
Yes.
And we are talking to her about all things hospitality, a little bit of stuff about steak, and also about how she came into the industry in the first place. So Katie, can you tell us about a little bit of your background and how you came into hospitality?
Absolutely. So I have sort of always had a passion for people, for caring for people, for travel, for language. And there was a certain point in my life where I thought, rather than going to university in England, like a lot of my classmates were doing, I thought I'd go to an international hotel management school. But before I did this, I sort of wanted to get a bit of a taste of the industry. And so I ended up approaching Claridge's in London to do a work experience with them, just for a couple of months working in-room dining. I ended up pushing a very large fruit trolley on some brand new carpets for 6 months, and just absolutely loved being in the hotel. Obviously I met a lot of kind of A-list celebs and European royalty and musicians and all sorts, and just kind of fell in love with the buzz that it was.
Yeah.
And so I then went on to study hospitality at La Roche, which is a Swiss hotel management school, but in Spain. Which was great fun, and after that I went on to work in Hong Kong and Shanghai. I was working for Shangri-La Hotels for quite a while, and in all aspects of the business, so from kind of kitchen to back of house, further back of house positions, to front of house, guest relations, food and beverage. And I was over in Asia for quite a few years, and I came back to London about 4 years ago, and then have been doing marketing for the last couple of years for restaurants.
Fabulous. There are quite a few restaurants in the STK chain.
There are.
And I'm assuming that within Europe, they have their own personality. I mean, obviously the ones in the States, I'm assuming, have their own personalities too. But
Sure.
Could you tell us a little bit more about the differences between the ones in Europe?
Absolutely. So STK London it's got a really kind of good mixed crowd. So on the weekend, Friday, Saturday night, it's real party, good girls' night out. People come from all over the UK to kind of be here on a Saturday, get really dressed up. It's also a really hot kind of date night place. But then earlier in the week, we have a kind of good city crowd, Wednesday, Thursday. And we also try to focus a lot on the lunch crowd through the week as well. So all sorts of people. And we even now have a roast on the weekend. So we're even getting some families as well. And then STK Milan is very sort of classy, high fashionista, very stylish, kind of jaw-dropping when you go in there. And we have STK Ibiza and Dubai, a couple of STKs in Dubai, which are really kind of high energy party vibe, really a place to be seen. And finally in EMEA we have STK Doha, which opened not that long ago, which is the top of the Ritz-Carlton, and it's got a much more kind of foodie focus than Dubai.
Right, okay.
Still party, still good energy with a DJ, etc., but it's more kind of foodie, and it's got fantastic views across all of Doha, 360 degree views, which are amazing.
Do you get to go out to most of them?
I do. I'm mainly based between London and Milan. I go to Ibiza once or twice a year, and then the Middle East once a year as well.
Fabulous. Okay. Mm-hmm. So, I've just come from a free-from and an allergy show.
Right.
So I'm seeing a movement
Yes.
towards plant-based
Sure.
things. Are you seeing maybe fewer people coming in, or are people saving up for special occasions? What are you seeing is happening around the whole plant-based?
I think it's really interesting. I find it really interesting, and there's some really beautiful dishes coming out across the industry. But I actually don't think it's affected us that much at all. I think people come here for the food. Obviously, steak is a key player, but also we have a lot of other dishes. So we do cater for, different needs, vegetarians, etc. But we don't feel it, honestly. People come here, they want to have steak, but you've always got to cater, of course, for everyone.
So a general question about your meat.
Yes.
Where do you get it from?
So we tend to try, in America we use, we locally source our meat. But our meat here in Europe, we actually get from Kansas. It's called Creekstone Farm. And we have a very good relationship with them. Obviously it's a long distance relationship, but we know them very well. We talk to them a lot. We meet with them. Our global corporate chef is in America, of course, a lot, but he's actually based here.
Yeah.
So yes.
So when I was looking through the menu, and I'm not a big steak eater normally.
Okay.
But I do know that there are differences between grass-fed cattle and grain-fed cattle. Can you tell us a little bit more about them?
Yes. So basically, the grain-fed cows are fed on grass until they're 1 year old, and then they're fed on grain and corn for 6 months. to the point where they are no more, which is at 18 months.
Yeah.
And this change in their diet basically fattens them up and creates the marbling in the meat, which provides a lot of flavour. Whereas grass-fed cattle the meat is much leaner, and it can even have a slightly more gamey texture, which is interesting as well. But that's the main difference between the two.
Okay. So, do you personally have a favourite dish on the menu currently? I mean, I'm assuming it changes seasonally,
so many.
But yeah.
So I think we have a Wagyu short rib starter, which we're doing on our new menu, which we've just changed, which is to die for.
Okay.
And it's quite a different flavour profile, and the texture of it is really interesting. It's quite a fun dish as well to sort of start, kickstart your dining experience in the evening. We want people to come here and have fun, so if they want to sort of have a slightly messier dish, it's quite a good one to get your teeth into.
So if you're on a desert island,
yes.
What's the one ingredient that you couldn't live without?
Maybe a buttered salt.
Good
because
idea.
then you can cook with the butter and have the flavour from the salt.
Very
so
good. Yeah.
Salt
comes up a lot.
Catch the animals myself.
Yeah.
Cut the vegetables and cook them with this salted butter.
Excellent. And a particular dish type. So
I don't know. I really like duck, but I don't know if there'll be any duck on my desert island.
No, people have gone for like anything, So it's like obviously it's not a real desert island; it's a sort of mythical desert island. What would you say are some of the advantages of being a woman?
So it's a great question. I mean, I think that hospitality is really in women's DNA. It's in our makeup, and we're caring by nature, and we kind of provide that sense of warmth, which is really essential in the hospitality industry. And it can be quickly forgotten unless it's kind of cultivated, trained, etc. So there's always a lot of training, a lot of briefing in hospitality.
Yeah.
And I think it's important that there is that influence. It's also really important to always be kind of humble in the service industry, and in order to create that kind of memorable experience. I always think, you've got to throw your heart and soul into hospitality, and women have a lot of heart and soul.
Yeah.
So I think that's a big advantage for us in the industry.
Great.
And also for men to know that women can do it. It's not just something that men do. And for me, like having worked in food and beverage and then come into marketing, I'm always quite keen for the male general managers to know that I'm not just someone working in marketing. Like I've worked in industry, I've worked the long hours, which I did for several years. But I always feel like it's quite important to make that known for some reason.
If you were going to give some advice to someone who was starting out, who wanted to get into, say, marketing or wanted to get into hospitality and the restaurant world, but more from that sort of like, marketing and hospitality side of things rather than front of house, I'd say.
Yeah.
What advice would you give them?
If you think you've got a passion for hospitality marketing, just give it a go. Just try it. A little advice that I was given growing up is, throw your heart over the bar and jump after it. And I think it's always really important to kind of challenge yourself and, work hard for what you believe in. And particularly what I found really helpful in hospitality, as in any job, I guess, is having a really kind of experienced mentor to guide you, to help you with those challenges. But also really important to take care of your health, particularly if you're working in hospitality. There are some long hours there, and you don't sacrifice everything just for your job. It's really easy to get swept up in that, but you've got to look after your health because it's so precious.
Yeah, that's great. Okay, well that's it really. Thanks very much, Katie.
Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure talking to you.
And you. Thank you.
Thank you.